Hi everyone, I'm the Idea Maker, and today I'm going to be talking about F1, the movie. So I went to go see it Wednesday on the 25th. I went to go with a bunch of friends to go see it in 40X. And I gotta say, this, by the way, this is the non-spoiler review. I am gonna be reacting to it. So basically, I'm gonna be revisiting it when it comes out on Apple TV, because this is one of the ones where I gotta say I am extremely impressed. I don't really watch a lot of racing movies. I don't really do a lot of sports movies, but this is one where this blew me away. I could already see this as an Oscars contender, an Oscar nominee, um, an Academy Award winner, I could say. This movie really makes you feel like you are in a racing movie. It does not feel like any other different type of movie. This doesn't feel, it doesn't feel like if it's any other different one. This doesn't feel like the ordinary racing movie. It doesn't feel like the ordinary sports movie. This is something entirely new, in my opinion. I feel like they do a lot of great cinematography tricks in this movie to where it blows my mind and it makes me want to watch behind the scenes videos on how they were able to make some of these shots the way that they did, and I'm impressed. I'm blown away on how incredible it is. There's shots where it feels like you're in the actual race car. There's shots where they pan from the track, from the perspective of the race car to the drivers, and it's just mind-boggling on how smooth it is. It's mind-boggling on the cinematography that's used for the racetracks, for the actual races. And honestly, I really am surprised at how incredible this experience was. And I'm saying it in a genuine matter just because that I've only seen a few racing movies. Some of I've seen is like Ford versus Ferrari. I think that might be the only racing movie I might have seen. But still, I mean, if you count Cars 1, 2, and 3 and Herbie Fully Loaded, I mean, you can count it. But like live action wise, I mean, the only one I can remember off the top of my head is Ford versus Ferrari. And that one was a great movie too. Like it really does a great job at showing. Oh wait, I forgot Gran Turismo, and that one was great too. But this one, you know what? I'm very grateful to have seen it in 40X because the 40X experience gave me something that I was needing for this movie. The seats jolted around for this movie. Like they really did a good job with syncing up the movements for from the movie with the actual racing scenes. I'm very impressed with how incredibly well done it was. I just gotta admit that this is one of the few times where I'm gonna say this was better than any 40X experience that I've been in. There's at one point where they do a sharp turn, okay, where one of the race cars does a very sharp turn on the track, and I'm telling you, the seats actually recreated that sharp turn very well. There's at one point where it feels like you're literally just zooming on the track, okay? And you are, it feels like it too. They give they add more to this racing atmosphere that I wasn't expecting. And they did such an incredible job with adding this feeling like you're racing, like you're in the race, you're in the movie. Like this is one of the few times where I'm like, this is where it needed to happen, because I went to go see Attack on Titan, the final movie, okay, and it was well done in 40X. You know, it was my first 40X experience, but Captain America: Brave New World beat it in my opinion, and it beat it because of the flying sequences. I thought that the fighting sequences were good, but it could have been done a little bit better. Um, I think then Thunderbolts increased the experience. You know, like it made it more of a jarring, jolting experience when I went to go see that one in 40X. But you know what? F1 does an incredible job to where it doesn't just feel like you're having a great experience in the movie, but this is the first time I feel like I was in the movie. Like, this was more of like an amusement park ride. 4DX is already great enough as a whole. Okay, it's a great experience. If you have the money to do so, it is a great experience for a lot of movies. But F1 is, in my opinion, the guaranteed pick for best usage of 4DX, because I was not expecting for this to be an incredible thrill ride. And I'm just surprised at how well this was done. This was very, very well done. I can't seem to get over how incredible F1 was. It was an experience. It didn't feel like a movie. Like, you can say that it feels like a movie when it comes to if you're watching it in, IMAX. Well, actually, no. If you're watching it in a regular theater, you can probably consider it like, yeah, it was a good movie. No. When you're watching it in either IMAX or if they have it in ScreenX, but in 4DX, it was an experience. Like, this was one experience that you will not forget. I can tell you from a person who's been to 4DX 4 different times, even though that kind of sounds like a little bit on the so-called unreliable side, but I'm telling you, 4DX for F1 is totally worth it. Go see it now before they take it off for Jurassic World Rebirth, because this was incredible. Now, I'm going to get to the actual story of F1, like how good it was. I think that the story on F1 was incredible. I thought that this was really well written. This was a thrill ride. This was so good, to the point where I was very surprised. I was very surprised about the fact that I'm gonna quote I'm gonna quote a YouTuber that I do watch. Okay, Gore the Movie God put it gently, to where writer Aaron Kruger, he doesn't really write that good of movies. Some examples are that he's written was Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, Age of Extinction, Ghost in the Shell. And he's like, are you sure it's a good idea for him, doing this? I mean, like, he did write Scream 3. He did write The Ring. Which I was like, okay. But, he also wrote for the Brothers Grimm. But I saw the redemptive arc when he helped write Dumbo. Okay, because he actually solely wrote Dumbo. And then I immediately saw the redemptive arc when he helped write it with Top Gun Maverick. And because he solely wrote F1, like, he came up with the story with director Joseph Kosinski, which he also directed F1, and he directed one of my all-time favorite movies of Tron Legacy for Disney. I think that this is a solid movie. Like, this is the redemptive arc that, that's needed. And this is where you give people the second chance on showing what they can be able to do. I thought that this was a very, very quick-paced movie. For it being 2 hours and 36 minutes, this was very quick-paced. It didn't feel boring. It felt like you were feeling the tension that the characters were having. This is more like, a lot of it was feeling more, not like it was a sports movie, but it didn't feel like a traditional sports movie. You didn't feel the tension off of one character. This is a movie where you feel the tension internally from all characters. Like, you felt this from every single character, because this is a story that it's about the future. This is about future racers. This is about future athletes in sports, on what they're going to bring to the sport that they're participating in, what they're competing for, what they're trying to win for. And there's a great message in this movie where it's basically about those who you feel like are trying to set limits on yourself. And I feel like, there's different ways of approaching the situation, because there's a lot of reasons why that limits had to have been set, but also limits are sometimes meant to be broken depending on who you're getting, because the thing is that this movie also talks about having, playing dirty in the world of sports and setting things up to set people to fail because of bets and of other different things that contribute to a lot of these different situations. But I think one of the most important things from F1 that I took away out of it was the fact that, when you're running a race or when you're driving a race, there's different ways that you approach it. And if you're working as a team, the thing is that, Brad Pitt and Damson Idris's characters, which I have to say, I'm not a fan of Brad Pitt for a lot of his movies, but I gotta admit, he did incredible with this one. Not only was he one of the producers of this movie alongside one of my favorite producers, Jerry Bruckheimer, but he was incredible as Sonny Hayes. He really gave the washed up racer type of vibe. He did an incredible job at, giving this depth to a character where you're understanding where he's coming from. You're rooting for him, but at the same time, you're wondering how far is he going to go in order for him to achieve his dream. And another thing too is I think this movie also goes and does a great job with these two characters that they pit against each other a lot. And I'm telling you, you see it from the trailer. They're pitting against each other, old versus new. They, one's thinking my way's better than your way. And, the other is thinking, you got to slow it down before you go and approach things. The thing is that Sonny Hayes is a person that, he's had experience, but he's also let one bad experience that he had. He let it kind of let his career kind of slip in the terms of that, he had to step back and step away from all that, and instead of just focusing on racing because he needed to recuperate from it, he just wanted to leave a lot of things behind. And his methods are more unheard of. They're more brash, they're more risky. And Joshua Pierce, played by Damson Idris, he is more of a straightforward shooter. He's a straightforward person. And it's to the point, though, that a lot of his ideas is very risky. And, both of them are very risky people for different reasons, which almost gets them both killed, which is entirely, insane. And, I'm saying it in the terms that it's not even a spoiler. It's more of just, it almost gets them both killed, because you've seen in the trailers the moves that they make on the track, and it's this is some risky stuff. This is a thing that you do not want to risk your life for, and it's scary. It's such a scary feeling. Going over probably 200 miles an hour in an F1 Formula sports car. It's very, very intense and it's very insane. But, the thing about this movie is that, it doesn't even matter how old you are, how young you are. Getting wisdom is and encouragement from other racers is one of the most important things, especially in F1 racing, or even in racing in general, that I think that is important for those who are about to get in. I think that it's important to listen to those who have the experience, because if you just go off on your own and you act brash and you act like a very cocky person in front of the world, it goes to bite you right in the butt. And it's like God telling you, you should have listened to the people that I sent to you for you to go and take it seriously, for you to win this race. Now, this movie, to me, it feels like it's another way of God saying, this is me telling you what to do. Now, there's a story that I'll get to right now. And if you guys have heard this one, this is awesome. But if you haven't, there's a story that it goes where it's about a man who I believe is in a lot of trouble because a hurricane comes, okay? And there's different things that come by, okay? And I don't remember the story completely, but I do know the story. There's, It's during a hurricane and he's sitting up on his roof. There's different people and different things that come and pass him by. And every single time they say, "Here, get in the boat because, we're going to take you to safety." And then he says, "No, no, thanks. God's going to rescue me. He's going to send something to rescue me." Okay? And then, there's other different modes of transportation that comes. But then, unfortunately, the more time that passes by, he ends up dying. He goes to heaven, and then he sees God, and he says, "God, how come you didn't rescue me? How come you didn't save me?" And God said, "I did. I tried doing so. I sent you a boat. I sent you this. I sent you that. Problem is, though, is that you didn't listen. And that's why you're here." See, the thing about F1 that I really liked about it is that it's funny how, whether if you're old or whether if you're young, there's people who are very, very cocky about their decisions that they make. They're very stubborn and dead set on. Now, being stubborn about the right things is an important attribute to have. It means that you're very, very on the nose on wanting to get a goal done. Okay, it just means that you want to be able to reach that goal. And it's very admirable. The problem is, though, about this, is that when you do so, when you actually do so, it becomes a problem. It becomes a major problem to the point that you as a person can be taking it the wrong way. You can take some of these things the wrong way. Because there's a fine line in between stubbornness on fighting for the right reasons, which is, fighting for something, for God, your family, your friends, injustice. And there's being stubborn for self-gain, self-righteousness, self-worthy, personal goals and personal gains that will put others in danger. And then that's where you have to really think about it and ask yourself, am I putting other people in danger, or am I doing it for them? And sometimes being stubborn is going to cost you your life. There's a lot of people in history that have had their lives taken from them or brutally, dramatically changed because of arrogance and cockiness. And that's what this movie does, is that it takes risks. It takes risks. And this movie's all about taking risks. But it's also about what risks are you willing to take in order for you to get to your goal. Now, I gotta admit, so the cast was incredible. So Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, Kerry Condon, and Javier Bardem, the breakout stars of this movie. I could see all of them going for an Oscar. I could see Brad Pitt going for Best Actor. Same thing with Damson Idris. I don't think that they were supporting actors. I don't think that either one of them were supporting actors. I feel like the nice thing about them is that they had this chemistry where I feel like they were playing off of each other. It felt like a point where not only were they playing off of each other, but they were doing so in a way where it felt solid, it felt real, it felt genuine, it felt like they weren't trying to muster up some kind of fake chemistry, but it felt genuine. It really felt like they had this rivalry / relationship with each other as colleagues, as friends, as frenemies, as enemies. And it felt right. Kerry Condon does an incredible job as playing Kate McKenna. Also, Brad Pitt's love interest in the movie, and Javier Bardem as Ruben Cervantes. He was amazing. I love Javier Bardem. He has become one of my favorite actors of all time. Especially, he really knows. He knows comedy. He knows drama. He's an actor that I think that can be able to pull off a lot. Because, he played Triton in the Little Mermaid live action remake, and I didn't know how he was going to do, but he proved to me as an actor that he can be able to take any role and he can be taken seriously. And I really feel like he has done an incredible job with this range of acting that he's usually in. and in the movies and the shows that he's in, he was honestly incredible. I absolutely loved him in this role. I was telling my friend when we went to see this, if anything, he could have honestly been in he could have honestly been his role. I mean, sorry, his role could have gone to Robert Downey Jr. and it still would have been awesome. This movie was great. I think that Carrie Condon has a chance at Best Supporting Actress. Javier Bardem has a great chance at Best Supporting Actor. I think F1 will also have. I think F1's gonna have its chances at Best Drama, for Best Picture, for Best Original Screenplay. I would say that it's going to have Best Cinematography's nominations. I think Best Production Design, Best Original Score by the one and only Hans Zimmer. Great composer. He was a reason as to why I got inspired to create music of my own, because of Interstellar, because of other movies that he's done, but Interstellar mostly, and alongside Daft Punk being an inspiration for me making electronic music, for King and Country and Lauren Daigle for their lyrics, or Christian atmosphere. There's Christian music in their atmosphere and the way that they deliver their music. Taylor Swift for songwriting purposes, but I don't listen to her as much. The Weeknd, because of the darker vibes that he can give off of his instrumental music, but using it for me, retooling it and reusing it for a Christian standpoint and for my own music outside of the stuff that he sings about. But Hans Zimmer is like the composer that really got me into mixing genres together, and he's such an incredible composer, and I hope that he does get that nomination for the 2026 Oscars. I think it might go for costume design. It's a possibility. I think possibly for production design, I think that it could happen too. I don't know about makeup and hairstyle. I don't think it will, but I think that this movie's going to get like a lot of nominations for the 2026 Oscars, for the Golden Globes. I think that this is going to be the movie that's going to be a trajectory for Apple, especially because I know that Apple already has won I believe that they've already won an Oscar already, and I believe it was for Coda, and I know that Coda was a big deal. I still haven't seen it. I do want to see it. I just haven't gotten to that chance. I think they got nominated too for Killers of the Flower Moon. That I do remember, but I just have to figure out about Coda really quick. I just want to make sure. Yes, so it did win its 3 nominations at the 94th Academy Awards for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actress, and Best Adapted Screenplay. And honestly, I'm very happy of the fact that I think that more of Apple's movies are getting nominated, they're getting recognized, and I believe that in my opinion, that this is going to be the next Apple TV movie it's going to have its chance. It's going to have its chance. And I'm super excited of the fact that it's having its chance to do so. It's going to be one of those movies where it's like, yep, this is going to be one of those where it's like, yeah, I'm going to see some really good things out of it. I think F1 has done an incredible job at making it feel like it also, and to be really quick about it, it also felt like Top Gun Maverick. This is literally the F1 version of Top Gun Maverick. And if you really wanted to, this could honestly have been a spin-off. And I think it would have been a great marketing sell too. I don't think that it would be, because it's Warner Brothers against Paramount, because Paramount made Top Gun and Warner Brothers helped. They were a co-production and co-distributed with Apple TV. But this was incredible. This was so incredible. I listened to the soundtrack for this movie now, and honestly, I'm just in shock on how incredible this movie was. Especially the 40X experience gave the push that it needs to authentically feel like a racing movie, and it already feels like an authentic racing movie, but I think that the 40X experience with the chairs moving, the wind blowing, the snow foam falling from the ceiling, for the smoke, with the kickers in the back, I think that it really adds to the experience. It's like plus 5 points right there. To me, this was a definite 10 out of 10 experience, but with the 40X, it was like a 15 out of 10. This was incredible. If you guys have not checked out F1 yet, go check it out on 40X if you can. If not, go see it in IMAX. This movie was incredible. This movie was spectacular, ambitious, a thrill ride that you're never going to get bored with, even with its long runtime. It was amazing, just absolutely amazing. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching my non-spoiler review for F1. I am super happy with this movie, and I think that you guys will be too. Tickets, if you guys want to get them, will be in the link in the description below. If you guys want to see more videos like this, then please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to follow me on any of my social media, I've got Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, aka X, and my Discord, server. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you all, stay safe, and I will see you all in the next videos. Bye, guys.